Okay, so then give me some mad no-nos or like the craziest BMX parent story, Moto. Like, what is it with some of these parents? What are they doing? Are they just living too much through their kid? What are you seeing?
I love the passion that goes into a sport. And I'm going to go like moto bikes at least. But well, I'll just go sports in general. But I don't want to say the no-nos. Um, I think one of the no-nos for me is right after the race, right after the game, and you're in the car going home. Like, we don't need to talk about what just happened necessarily, especially if it went bad. Like, just, are you hungry? Are you thirsty? Do you want to get some food? Like, you know, what's your day going to be like tomorrow at school? Like, we don't need to get into, you could have taken an extra pedal, or you missed, or your foot position was wrong on the ball, or you don't need to get it. Cause guess what? That kid's better than you at that thing. Probably, when it starts,
Yeah, yeah.
even like in
Probably
BMX,
better than you've ever been.
yeah. Don't get me wrong. There's a lot of parents now who did the sport, but even still, it's evolved to a certain way to where, one, two is generally speaking, no one's happy to lose or mess up. So just give it some space. One, the other thing is, rather than just pointing out the mistake when you do talk about it, or if they bring, and by the way, I would practice this too. Even if my son wanted to bring it up in the car, I'd be like, hey man, like let's talk about let's talk about it later. Not to like cut him off or anything, but
And what does he? How does he respond to that?
Because he hates losing. He hates.
What does he say
losing.
when you say maybe we talk about another time?
Well, yeah. So he's like the coach. He's like, oh man, the coach did this, or the refs were that. I'm like, well, I was like, hey, let's talk about it later. I said, but but then when we have time afterwards, if he's still complaining, because what I don't want is like this habit of complaining. That is like a complaining, worrying, complicating, and comparing are like surefire ways to run yourself into the ground and go the exact opposite direction you want to go around those things. So I try to nip that and by the way, I'm a recovering complainer. I was great at complaining. And
I'm shit hot as well. My brother's the founder of it, but me and him can have a good rant.
It took so much away from me getting a better gait. It took so much away from me getting the most out of the race. It took so much away from sponsorship opportunity even. Like, seriously, it cost me money complaining.
Oh, shit. No, this is not just a joke. It
cost me money complaining. And it's like, my eyes were just not on the ball. Like, bad coaching, bad refereeing is part of the sport. The fact that there's a shady promoter is part of the sport. The fact that the payout's terrible is part of the sport. I'm not saying you like it, but I'm saying do something with it at the appropriate time. So anyways, back to parents and cars. So like, if you can, to the best you can, just give yourself space after the race or after the event, in the car ride home, or and just live life and then kind of go at it. But then rather than just pointing out the mistakes, maybe just ask like, how was it for you? And you might get a smart ass answer. What do you think? I lost, It's like, okay, yeah. But okay, that sucks. I said, but like, what do you think happened out there? Where do you think it went bad? And you might just be like, oh, I wasn't hitting my shots, or da-da-da-da-da. It's like, okay, well, were your feet in the right position? Then like have them talk through how it went bad. Have them talk through, and then you can even point out some things. Well, it looked like you were still hustling out there. It seemed like you still, were whatever. And don't get me wrong, there's times where that kid might just give up on themselves. And if that did happen, that's not a mistake. That's a conversation about like, responsibility. It's like, hey man, I know it's hard out there, but it looked like you might have given up. They might defend against that, but It's like, hey, you just recognize there's a team or there's a this. And it's like, you signed up, you want to see it, you just want to try to finish strong, even if it's going bad, right? Those kinds of, like, that's how you want to try to have that conversation. But you don't want to make it seem like I need to do good so my parents will be happy. If you got that dynamic, that's no bueno. Because every kid, generally speaking, wants to please their parent. I mean, I'm an adult child. I'm 50. I want, my dad passed away. It was important to me that he was proud of me.
Yeah, totally.
Straight up. But
yeah, I guess that's
he
the last
didn't make
thing
it
you
about.
want.
But he didn't make it. He wasn't like, don't embarrass. Don't get me wrong. It's not like you're walking into a wedding. It's like, don't embarrass me, like, or church. But it's like me doing well at a race wasn't like I need to win so my dad is happy or my mom is happy or my parents don't fight. That's not a good situation.
Shame, and some athletes and kids are in that situation. Yeah, it's hard, eh?
Mm-hmm.
That it is a real thing.
Yeah, I got a letter from somebody wanted me to work with their son, not in bikes, in a board sport. And basically the dad was basically saying he's this level, top ranked in this blah, blah, blah. But he's lazy and just doesn't want to put in the work. And I think the kid like maybe was 12. Anyways, so I referred them to someone, but it's like, come on. Like, I don't know what he means by lazy, but one, like, versus the letter that's like, oh, my kid's so-and-so, he's ranked so-and-so, I think it'd be good if he learned some tools to calm himself down or to focus or to not be so hard on himself. You see the difference?
Yeah. I mean, I would just guess that there's unrealistic expectations handed down to the kid.
Mm-hmm.
Like lazy on whose graph of laziness? Mm-hmm. The dad's?
Right. And not to mention...
Like what? Because, my dad was the funniest. He would just be pissy if we didn't like appreciate and put the effort in for our talent level. This is when we started doing well. Yeah, he's like, he always is famous. He's like, you kids have got more talent in your little pinkies that I got in my whole body. Like, don't squander it. And it was never the result. It was like if I had a party before a race or I didn't put the work in, because he sacrificed a lot. Both parents did, to get us to races. And when we had shown the drive and the talent, then the bikes were on par to perform. Mm-hmm. But I never felt the result. It was always the effort. If you put the effort in, he'll back us 100%. So, and not like that, like you're lazy. It's just like, well, you say you want this and you're squandering, you're not showing with your actions.
Right. That's funny. My dad said that too. He said, well, if you want, because my brother was the fast one. He was like factory sponsor with Mongoose, teammates with John Tomac, like legit as an amateur. And then he decided not to race. He got a driver's license, all this other stuff, one day, which is fine. But then I came along and started to get more serious and I wanted to start racing and traveling and live that factory life, or at least work toward it. And my dad just said, well, if you want to race these races, I got to see you practicing. He never said training wasn't a thing, but I need to see you practicing. Yeah. So I would be on my rollers every night. And then if I did that, I knew I could go to a race. Like that was the tax to go race. Yeah. And it was a pretty even exchange. I'm going to recommend a couple of books because you mentioned something. So one book is called Growth Mindset by Carol Dweck. And she talks about...
I've heard of it. I'll write it down. Yeah.
Yeah. She talks about praising the effort, not the result. Yes. You can celebrate.
Yeah, but that's huge in kids' psychology these days, right?
Mm-hmm.
Not the result, the effort you put in.
Yeah.
There's all.
And I'm not saying don't celebrate the win. Go for the pizza party if you do well, or get extra pepperoni.
No, they celebrate the win, but there's is that test in there where they did half of the class were praised on the result and half were praised on the effort, and then they did another test, and then obviously the people that were praised with the effort they put in did better on the more challenging test that came after that, correct? Yeah. I love that. I love that theory. Yeah.
Yep. I'm going to give you 3 books. Sorry.
Please, dude, let's go.
Another one is called, which I just think is just in general for every human, is called Stumbling on Happiness.
Okay.
Yep. And that talks about how we think if we do this or get that, we just envision this kind of, utopia kind of existence when it's not necessarily the case. But then the other one, and then the other one that kind of goes along with that, I just say goes along with that, it's called Thinking Fast and Thinking Slow. It's a little more dense.
It's quite a dense read. I started it, but I actually haven't finished it. I'm really into those style of books. Mm-hmm. I've got it on the bookshelf. Thinking Fast and Thinking Slow. Yeah.
Yeah,
maybe it's like a slow series on Netflix where like the first episode's a bit slow, and then you get hooked.
Yeah, so it's funny. I'm a BMXer who, undercover mountain biker, not so much undercover anymore. I'm a psychologist, undercover behavioral economist. I'm kind of like those are kind of my, I'm out of the closet with mountain biking. But yeah, with the behavioral economics, but a lot of it overlays.
It's called behavioral economics.
Yeah, that's like Thinking Fast and Thinking Slow. That's a behavioral economics book.
Why do they use the word economics? What is the definition?
Well, because
how does it relate to that?
Because it talks about behavior being incentivized or disincentivized, and how we can be pushed to do certain things or not do certain things based on on an outcome we might get, whether it's in like I'm going to win this cup, or I think I'm going to feel better about myself in the future, and so therefore I'll do this. Anyways, it's just an interest of mine that helps inform me in other ways. And it's like we're psychology, not economics is like financial necessarily economics, but economics.
No, I need to like look at the definition of it to help me understand. Like a behavioral side, I get like I would. Behavioral.
You've been exposed to it already. You probably just don't like once you start looking into it. You're like, oh, I heard of that, or I heard of that.
Yeah, totally. No. Yeah. I said.
So for an instance, so as an example, do you remember the movie Beautiful Mind?
Not off the top of my head. I'll have to rewatch it.
Yeah, but I'm trying to think of another example that's pretty popular, but that would be a good example of kind of collective bargaining. UCI, there we go. Now we can. But basically, these guys
that was a smooth segue.
There we go. These guys were at the bar, and there's a group of guys and a group of women. And there was one woman who's like really attractive. And then the guy was like, wait, we can't all go for the one woman because none of us will probably get her. But if we all go for a woman in the group and none of us go for the good looking women, our chances of getting a phone number or whatever is much better. And that was like the big shift for them. I
think you're actually referencing a pickup artist book called The Game. So maybe I'm teasing. No, but I know they use. Is that behavioral economics?
Yeah.
Collective bargaining. Yeah. So these pickup artists use like a lot of actual smart psychology. One of them is that hit on the potential. Let me put this nicely: women they may not want to marry one day, and then the other one feels left out or whatever the psychological thing is happening there. And she's obviously then more interested when they do turn attention to
scarcity.
Yeah, scarcity. Yeah, scarcity. Yeah, okay, that's interesting. I love. I'm fascinated by that stuff.
But the stumbling on happiness and the growth mindset will help everyone, and definitely can help parents for sure.